Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bible in a Year, making it easier to understand. Thanks so much for joining us today.
We're all about reflecting the timeless truth of the Bible through the lens of today's world, making it relatable, understandable, and alive for your everyday life.
We're excited to dive into today's verses with fresh insights. Let's jump right in.
And we are back. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Day 10 of Bible in a Year, making it easier to understand. I'm John.
And I'm Stephanie. And honestly, John, I can't believe we are already at day 10. Double digits.
I know, right? We've survived creation, the fall, the flood, and a whole lot of family drama. But folks, if you thought Isaac and Rebecca had issues, buckle up, because today we are entering the absolute chaos of Jacob's life.
It really is chaos. I mean, we're reading Genesis 28, 29, and the first part of 30 today. And John, I have to say, this reading made me so uncomfortable. It's heavy, it's messy.
It is. It's like a reality TV show that went off the rails. But before we get into the theology, we have to start with the hook of the day. And for me, it's arguably the most awkward morning in human history.
Oh, I know exactly where you're going with this.
I'm talking about Genesis 29, verse 25, the morning after the wedding. Oh, it's painful. Picture this. You're Jacob. You've been working for 7 years, 7 literal years of blood, sweat, and shepherding to marry the woman of your dreams, Rachel. The wedding feast happens. It's dark. There's probably a lot of wine involved. You go into the tent, you consummate the marriage, you fall asleep thinking you are the luckiest man alive.
And then the sun comes up.
The sun comes up. You roll over to kiss your beautiful bride, the love of your life. And it's her sister.
Gasps. It's the ultimate catfish, John. It really is.
It is. It's the biblical version of meeting someone on a dating app who uses a filter in every photo. And then you meet them at Starbucks and you're like, who are you? But way, way worse, because you're married now.
And you can't just swipe left.
Exactly. You can't ghost her. You're stuck. But Stephanie, before we laugh too much about Jacob's misfortune, we need to set the scene. How did we get here? Because Jacob didn't just stumble into this tent by accident.
Right. Context is everything. So let's rewind to the beginning of our reading, Genesis 28. Remember, Jacob is on the run.
He's a fugitive. He is. He just scammed his brother Esau out of the blessing. We talked about that yesterday. And now Esau wants to kill him. So his mom, Rebecca, tells him to flee to her brother's house in Haran.
Haran? The old country. Yes, this is where Abraham came from. It's modern-day Turkey, and Jacob is basically being sent into exile. He's leaving the promised land. He's leaving his parents. He's going from being a wealthy heir to being a homeless refugee with nothing but a backpack and a walking stick.
And he's heading straight into the lion's den. He thinks he's going to a safe haven, to Uncle Laban's house. But Laban, oh boy, Laban is a piece of work.
Laughs nervously. That is putting it lightly. Let's do a modern mirror here, because we've all met a Laban. Laban is the original toxic boss. Oh, totally. You know the type? The manager who interviews you and says, "We work hard, play hard, we're a family here."
We're a family. That's always the red flag. It is. It means I'm going to exploit you and pay you in pizza instead of overtime. That is Laban. Jacob shows up, and Laban sees dollar signs, or I guess shekels and sheep in his eyes. He realizes Jacob is a hard worker, and he immediately starts figuring out how to leverage him.
And that brings us to the deal. Jacob falls in love with Rachel, Laban's younger daughter. And because Jacob has no money for a dowry, he's broke. Remember, he offers labor, service.
He says, I will serve you 7 years for your younger daughter, Rachel. Now, Stephanie, you did the research on this. Was 7 years a normal price?
It was actually incredibly high. I looked into the ancient marriage customs, specifically the mohar, which is the bride price. Usually, the groom's family pays this, but Jacob has no family backing him here. He's isolated, so he pays with his life, his time. And 7 years? That was an exorbitant price. It shows just how desperate and in love he was.
He was smitten. The text says, they seemed to him but a few days because of the love he had for her, which is, okay, that's romantic.
It's very romantic, but it's also tragic, because he serves the 7 years. He hits his KPIs, he meets his quota, he goes to the boss and says, "Okay, I did the job, give me my promotion, give me my wife." And Laban says, "Sure, let's have a party."
And this is where the deception happens. Laban switches the sisters. He puts Leah, the older sister, into the bridal tent instead of Rachel.
And when Jacob wakes up and confronts him, "What is this you have done to me?" Laban hits him with the fine print.
Yes, this is what fascinated me. Laban says in Genesis 29, verse 26, "It is not so done in our country to give the younger before the firstborn."
Oh, sorry, didn't I mention that? It's company policy. It's in the handbook, page 400.
Exactly. And here's the kicker. I was reading about the Nusi tablets, which are these ancient documents from the same region and time period. They actually confirm that this was a custom. The older daughter usually had to marry first.
So Laban wasn't lying? Technically, no. He was telling the truth about the custom. But, and this is a big but, he waited 7 years to mention it. He withheld the information until the transaction was irreversible. It's malicious compliance. It's entrapment. It's like signing a mortgage and finding out at the closing table that you owe double. But Stephanie, there's a deeper irony here, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. Think about who is getting deceived. Jacob. The name Yaakov literally means heel catcher or deceiver.
Right. How did Jacob get the blessing from his father Isaac? He deceived him.
He pretended to be Esau. Specifically, he took advantage of his father's blindness, his inability to see, to pretend to be the older brother.
Oh, wow. And now, Laban takes advantage of the darkness, Jacob's inability to see, to substitute the older sister.
It's measure for measure. It's exactly that. It's not karma, it's discipline. God is allowing Jacob to feel exactly what Esau felt. He's being Esau-ed. He wakes up and realizes, I've been scammed, and it hurts.
It hurts so much. But John, can we talk about the other victim in this? Because while Jacob is the protagonist, there is a woman in this tent who is suffering profoundly.
Leah. Leah. Imagine being the woman who is used as a tool to trick a man who doesn't want you.
Yeah, that's brutal. The Bible describes her in verse 17. It says, Leah's eyes were weak, but Rachel was beautiful in form and appearance.
Weak eyes. Rakod in Hebrew. I've always wondered about that. Does it mean she needed glasses? Was she cross-eyed?
Chuckles. Well, the scholars debate it. Some think it means her eyes were dull, lacking that sparkle that was prized in the ancient world. But there's a really moving interpretation in the Midrash, Jewish commentary, that says her eyes were tender or weak from weeping.
From crying? Yes, because she knew the family gossip. 2 sons for Isaac, 2 daughters for Laban. The older for the older, the younger for the younger. She thought she was destined to marry Esau, and she knew Esau was, well, a wild man, a brute. So she wept over her future.
Wow. So she's not just the ugly sister, she's the heartbroken sister.
Exactly. She enters this marriage knowing she is the consolation prize. She knows Jacob worked 7 years for Rachel, not her. She is the unloved. And that word, sinua in Hebrew, it appears later. God sees that she is hated, or at least loved less.
That is a heavy place to be. Living in a tent where your husband looks right through you to get to your sister. Talk about a toxic household.
It's devastating, and it sets up this rivalry that defines the rest of the reading. It's not just a love triangle, it's a war.
It is a war for worth. And we are going to see how that plays out with the mandrakes and the baby naming wars in a bit. But before Jacob even gets to this nightmare internship with Laban, he has an encounter on the road that changes everything.
The ladder? The ladder? Or is it a ladder?
Laughs, we'll find out. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to look at one of the most famous dreams in the Bible, Jacob's ladder, and why most of us have been picturing it completely wrong. Don't go anywhere.
And we are back. Before the break, we left Jacob sleeping on a literal rock in the middle of nowhere, running for his life from his brother Esau.
Which, honestly, sounds miserable. I mean, have you ever tried to sleep on a plane without a neck pillow? Imagine using a jagged stone in the middle of the wilderness.
My back hurts just thinking about it. But this is where the magic happens. This is arguably one of the most famous scenes in the entire Old Testament, Jacob's ladder.
Yes, I remember seeing this in children's Bibles. There's Jacob asleep and this long wooden ladder, like something you'd buy at Home Depot, stretching up to the clouds with angels climbing up and down.
Exactly. And usually there's a little thought bubble above Jacob's head. But Stephanie, I hate to be the bearer of bad news for the Sunday school illustrators out there, but it probably wasn't a ladder.
Feigning shock. John, you are ruining my childhood.
I know. I'm sorry. But look at the Hebrew. The word used there is solemn, and it's a hapax legomenon, which is a fancy way of saying it only appears once in the entire Bible.
So how do we know what it means? Context, history, and archaeology. Most scholars believe this wasn't a rung ladder, but a staircase. Specifically, a ramp. Think of a ziggurat.
A ziggurat. Okay, unpack that for us.
So, in the ancient world, specifically in Mesopotamia, where Jacob's ancestors came from, they built these massive terraced pyramids called ziggurats. They looked like giant staircases leading up to the sky. Right, like the Tower of Babel? Exactly! The Tower of Babel in Genesis 11 was likely a ziggurat. And what was the point of Babel? It was humanity saying, "Let us build a tower to the heavens." It was man trying to climb up to God. It was religion as a human achievement. If we work hard enough, if we stack enough bricks, we can reach the divine. It's the ultimate hustle culture spirituality.
It is. Grind until you reach God. But look at Jacob's dream. This isn't a tower Jacob built. He's a refugee. He's exhausted. He's asleep. He didn't build anything.
The structure is set up on the earth by God. Yes, and the movement is crucial. In religion, we climb up. In this vision, the angels are ascending and descending, but who is standing at the top? Or, as some translations suggest, standing beside him? Yahweh, the Lord. God comes down. That is the difference. Babel is man reaching up. Bethel is God reaching down. God meets Jacob in the mud, in his brokenness, in his exile. Jacob didn't have to climb the stairs. God brought the staircase to him. That is such a relief, because honestly, Jacob isn't in a position to climb anything right now. He's a mess. He's a liar on the run.
He is. And that's what makes the connection for today so powerful. Because this isn't just about a stone ramp in ancient Canaan. This is about Jesus.
I love this connection. It's in the Gospel of John, right?
It is. John chapter 1, verse 51. Jesus is talking to a man named Nathanael, and he says something that seems totally random if you don't know your Old Testament. He says, "Truly, truly, I say to you, you will see heaven opened and the angels of God ascending and descending on the Son of Man."
Whoa. He's quoting Genesis. So, Jesus is the ladder.
He is quoting the ladder. But notice the shift. In Genesis, the angels are climbing on the sulam, the staircase. In John, Jesus says they are climbing on the Son of Man. Boom. That's it. Jesus is the interface. He is the bridge. He is the ziggurat that actually works. We don't climb a religious ladder of do more, try harder, be a better person to get to God. We just connect to Jesus. He is the access point.
That changes everything. It means we don't have to find a holy place like Bethel. We don't have to go to a specific cathedral or mountain. If you are in Christ, you are in the house of God.
Exactly. You become the Bethel. It's mind-blowing.
It really is. And Jacob, he sort of gets it, but he also sort of doesn't.
Yeah, typical Jacob. He wakes up and says, "Surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it," which is profound. But then he makes a vow.
Oh, the vow. Genesis 28, verse 20. If God will be with me and will keep me, then the Lord will be my God.
It's so transactional. If you do X, I'll do Y. It's like he's negotiating a contract with a vendor. If you provide security and food, I'll pay you 10%.
It's very human.
It is. And honestly, I think we give Jacob a hard time. But how many of us have prayed that prayer? God, if you just get me this job, I promise I'll go to church every Sunday. God, if you fix this medical test result, I'll never sin again. Exactly. It's bargaining. And God, amazingly, God accepts it. He doesn't say, "Jacob, your theology is weak. Come back when you have pure faith." He meets him where he is.
Which is good because Jacob is about to need all the help he can get. He leaves Bethel and finally arrives in Haran. And this is where the rom-com turns into a drama.
The modern mirror we talked about earlier, the toxic workplace, really kicks into high gear here. Jacob arrives, meets Rachel at the well. Classic boy meets girl moment. He rolls away the stone, kisses her, weeps. It's intense.
He wears his heart on his sleeve. He does. But then he meets the father, Laban. And we need to talk about Laban's management style.
Oh, it's a case study in exploitation. Jacob agrees to work 7 years for Rachel, and the text says those 7 years seemed to him but a few days because of the love he had for her. That is the most romantic verse in the Bible. It's up there. But think about the labor. Being a shepherd isn't sitting in a meadow playing a flute. It's fighting wolves, sleeping in the cold, dealing with disease. It's hard, gritty work, and Jacob crushes it. He makes Laban rich. And then the switch happens. We talked about the morning after, but let's talk about the why. Why did Laban do it? Laban is the ultimate opportunist. He realized he had a unicorn employee in Jacob. If he lets Jacob marry Rachel after 7 years, Jacob might leave, or he might just be content. But if he tricks him into marrying Leah,
he gets another 7 years of free labor. Exactly. He leveraged Jacob's love to secure 14 years of indentured servitude. It's efficient, cold-blooded capitalism.
it's awful. And think about the position it puts the sisters in. Laban basically pit his daughters against each other. This is the part that breaks my heart. He used Leah as a pawn. He knew Jacob didn't want her, but he dressed her up, put her in the dark tent, and used her to trap him.
And I want to go back to Leah for a second. We mentioned her weak eyes earlier, but imagine the wedding night from her perspective.
Yeah. She has to lie there, in the dark, pretending to be her sister. She has to let Jacob, the man she probably loves, or at least admires, make love to her, knowing that the moment the sun comes up, he is going to be horrified. That is psychological torture, the rejection she must have felt the next morning. Jacob looks at her and yells at her father, "What is this?" Essentially, why her?
Why this? It's dehumanizing. She is the object of his anger, not his affection.
And that sets the stage for the rest of our reading, the war for worth. Because now Jacob is married to both. He works another 7 years for Rachel and gets her a week later, by the way. He didn't have to wait another 7 years to marry her. He just had to sign the contract for the debt.
Right, so now you have two wives in one tent. One is loved but barren, the other is fertile but unloved. It is the perfect storm for the comparison trap, and this is where the modern mirror hits home for so many of us.
It's the Pinterest perfect life versus the secret struggle. Rachel looks like she has it all. She's the trophy wife. She has the beauty. She has the husband's heart. If she had Instagram, her feed would be full of #blessed and #myman.
But behind the scenes, she is dying inside. She says, "Give me children or I shall die." She is desperate. She feels worthless because in that culture, beauty was great, but fertility was currency.
And then there's Leah. She's popping out babies left and right. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah. From the outside, she looks like the successful matriarch. She's building the dynasty.
But look at the names she gives them. This is what blew my mind when I researched it. Every name is a cry for help.
Let's run through them. Reuben. It means, see a son. She says, "Surely now my husband will love me." Oof. Simeon. Heard. She says, "Because the Lord heard that I am hated." She knows it. She knows she is the hated wife. Levi. Attached. She says, "Now this time my husband will be attached to me." She's begging for connection. It's heartbreaking. She is using her children as tools to earn her husband's affection. If I just achieve more. And we are back. Okay, Stephanie, before the break, we teased one of the strangest moments in the entire book of Genesis. We are talking about vegetables, fertility drugs, and a very awkward business transaction between sisters.
Laughs. It is so awkward. We're in Genesis chapter 30. And honestly, if you were reading this without a guide, you might just skim past it. It mentions mandrakes.
Which for most of us just sounds like something from Harry Potter. You know, the screaming roots?
Yes, and J.K. Rowling actually did her homework because in ancient folklore, mandrakes were considered magical. But in the Bible, they aren't screaming monsters. They are Dudayam.
Doodam. Sounds like a nickname you give a buddy. Hey, Doodam.
Laughs. Not quite. It comes from the Hebrew root for love or lover. They were basically the ancient world's fertility drug. They were considered an aphrodisiac. In the ancient Near East, if you were barren, you wanted mandrakes. They were like the miracle cure everyone whispered about.
So, set the scene for us.
Okay, so it's harvest time. Reuben, Leah's oldest son, is out in the field and he finds these mandrakes. He brings them to his mom, Leah. Now, remember the dynamic. Leah has the kids, but Rachel has the husband.
Right. Rachel is desperate. She sees these mandrakes and thinks, this is it. This is the biohack I need to finally get pregnant.
Exactly. So she goes to Leah and says, "Give me some of your son's mandrakes." And Leah, well, Leah snaps. She says, "Is it a small matter that you have taken away my husband? Would you take away my son's mandrakes also?"
Ouch. You took my man, now you want my salad?
Basically. But then Rachel makes an offer, and this is where it gets tragic. She says, "Okay, if you give me the mandrakes, you can sleep with Jacob tonight."
Whoa. Pause. Do you realize what just happened? Rachel, the beloved wife, the one Jacob actually wants to be with, is trading her husband's intimacy for a vegetable.
It shows you how desperate she is. She's putting her faith in a superstition. She thinks, if I just get this root, I can hack the system. I can force a blessing.
And Leah? She accepts the deal. She literally hires her husband for the night. Genesis 30 verse 16 says Leah went out to meet Jacob and said, "You must come in to me, for I have hired you with my son's mandrakes."
Can you imagine being Jacob coming home from work? "Hey, honey, how was your day? By the way, you're sleeping in tent B tonight because I traded you for some produce."
It's dehumanizing for everyone involved. But here is the hidden gem, the irony of God. Who gets pregnant that night?
Leah.
Leah, the one who gave away the fertility drug. Rachel, who ate the magic mandrakes, stays barren.
That is such a powerful theological mic drop. It's God saying, I am the author of life, not your superstitions, not your biohacks, not your schemes.
It's a modern mirror for us, isn't it? We do the same thing. We trust in the mandrakes of our culture.
Oh, absolutely. If I just buy this supplement, if I just follow this influencer's morning routine, if I just manifest my destiny, then I'll be happy.
We try to use spiritual technology to get what we want instead of trusting the architect. Rachel wanted the potion. Leah got the pregnancy. It's a reminder that you can't manipulate God.
And the rivalry doesn't stop there. The war for worth continues with the naming of the children. We see the handmaids get involved, Bilhah and Zilpah. It turns into a total baby race.
It really does. I have a son. Well, my maid has a son. Well, I have another son.
Look at the names Rachel gives her handmaid sons. She names one Naphtali, which means wrestling. She says, "With mighty wrestlings I have wrestled with my sister and have prevailed."
She views her family life as a wrestling match. That is exhausting.
It is. And Leah names one of her sons Issachar, which means reward or wages, because she thinks she earned him by giving her maid to Jacob. It's all transactional. It's all I did this, so I get that.
Until we get back to Judah.
Yes. We talked about him in the last segment, but it bears repeating. Amidst all this striving, all this mandrake trading and husband swapping, one child is born with a name that has nothing to do with the rivalry. Judah. Praise.
And that is where the line of Jesus comes from. Not from the striving, but from the praising.
I think that's the message for the modern seeker listening today. You might feel like you are in a war for worth. Maybe you're comparing yourself to a sibling, a coworker, or someone on Instagram who seems to have the Rachel life, the beauty, the success, the love.
And you feel like Leah, unpicked, unnoticed. Maybe you feel like you need to buy some mandrakes to catch up.
But God says, stop. Stop looking sideways at your sister. Look up at me. Your worth isn't found in being chosen by a man or a boss or a culture. It's found in being chosen by God.
Amen. You know, Jacob leaves this chapter a wealthy man, but a broken one. He has a massive family. but it's a family built on deception and rivalry. He's rich, but he's not at rest.
And that sets us up perfectly for tomorrow, because Jacob can't stay in this toxic environment forever. He has to go home. He has to face his past.
He has to face Esau.
Gasps, the brother he scammed.
That reunion is coming, and let me tell you, Jacob is terrified. But before he meets Esau, he has to meet God again. And next time, it won't be a dream of a ladder. It's going to be a wrestling match in the mud.
Oh, I can't wait for that. That is one of my favorite stories.
Me too. But for today, let's wrap this up. What is our text message takeaway?
I think it's this. You can't earn God's blessing with hustle or hacks. You can only receive it with open hands.
That's good. Mine would be, stop climbing the ladder of performance and rest in the God who came down the stairs to meet you.
I love that.
All right, guys, that is day 10 in the books. Can you believe it? We are 1/30th of the way through the Bible.
We are doing it. Keep reading, keep trusting, and we will see you tomorrow for day 11.
Same time, same place. Let's dive deeper. See ya.
That's a wrap on today's podcast. Thank you all so much for joining us and diving deep with us.
We truly value your time and love walking through these chapters together. Your support means the world.
If you've enjoyed this episode, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a day. Drop a comment below. We'd absolutely love to hear how Modern Mirrors is opening your eyes to the text in fresh ways.
Join us tomorrow for another inspiring journey into the Word of the Lord. Until then, God bless you abundantly.